Full
Yeah,
screen, correct?
yep.
Book 17 is the
Good.
chapter where Odysseus walks into his own house as a stranger, and the first creature in Ithaca to know him is a dying dog on a dung heap. Telemachus has already met his disguised father at the swineherd's hut. He goes ahead to the palace to show himself to his mother, who has not stopped grieving since he left for Pylos. Penelope comes down from her room, looking, Homer says, like Diana or Venus, and flings her arms around her son. He holds her, but tells her nothing. The secret of his father's return is the most dangerous piece of information on the island. While Telemachus manages his mother, Odysseus and Eumaeus set out for town. Odysseus walks several paces behind, stooped over a staff, wearing rags, carrying a shabby wallet on a twisted thong. On the road, the goatherd Melanthius overtakes them, driving the best of his goats to the suitors for dinner. Melanthius is a servant who has chosen the winning side, and he despises the losing one. He insults Odysseus, calls him a worthless beggar, and kicks him on the hip. Odysseus stands firm and does not move. He considers killing the man on the spot, but he endures it and walks on alone. When they reach the palace, Odysseus sees his own house for the first time in 20 years. The stone walls, the double doors, the smell of roasting meat, the sound of the bard singing inside. He tells Eumaeus to go in first. "I am used to being beaten," he says. "Leave me here." And then the dog. A dog lying on a dung heap raises his head and pricks up his ears. This is Argos, the hunting dog Odysseus bred before he left for Troy, but never worked. In the old days, the young men took him after wild goats, deer, and hares, and nothing could escape him. But his master has been gone 20 years, and no one has cared for him. He lies on a pile of manure outside the stable doors, full of fleas, waiting to die. As soon as he sees Odysseus, he drops his ears and wags his tail. He cannot get up. He cannot go to his master. He can only lie there and wag his tail on a dung heap and wait for a touch that will not come. Odysseus sees the dog and dashes a tear from his eyes before Eumaeus can notice. He asks about the dog, keeping the mask on. Eumaeus tells him the dog belonged to a man who died far from home. Odysseus walks into the palace without touching the dog. The disguise does not allow it. Homer says, Argos died as soon as he had recognized his master. Inside, Odysseus sits on the threshold against a post of cypress wood. Telemachus sends him bread and meat through Eumaeus. Minerva prompts him to beg from each of the suitors, testing who gives and who refuses. He makes the round, stretching out his hands as though he has been begging his entire life. Most of the suitors give him something. Antinous does not. Antinous is the chief suitor, the one Penelope hates most, the one Homer has been building towards since Book 1. When Odysseus approaches him with a story about having once been a rich man, Antinous tells him to get out. Odysseus pushes back with a line that carries more edge than a beggar should. Your looks are better than your breeding. Antinous picks up a footstool and throws it. It hits Odysseus on the right shoulder blade. He stands firm as a rock, and the blow does not stagger him. He shakes his head in silence, goes back to the threshold, and broods on his revenge. The other suitors are disturbed. One says, it will be worse for Antinous if the beggar turns out to be a god in disguise. Antinous pays no attention. At the other end of the hall, Telemachus watches. No tear falls from him. He shakes his head in silence and broods on the same revenge. Father and son at opposite ends of the hall, both in silence, both planning, both waiting. The news reaches Penelope in her upper room. She hates Antinous like the darkness of death. She sends Eumaeus to fetch the stranger, who she hears may have news of her husband. Odysseus declines. Tell the queen to wait until sundown. It is the response of a strategist, not a beggar. Penelope hears this and says something that matters more than she knows. The man is no fool. She has not identified him, but she has recognized something in the refusal that does not fit the disguise. A beggar does not turn down an audience with the queen. The chapter closes with the suitors singing and dancing as evening falls, and the beggar on the threshold watching them with eyes that are not a beggar's eyes. He has survived the first day in his own house. He has been insulted, kicked, and struck, and he is not broken. The patience he learned between Book 9 and Book 13, the discipline of being nobody, is holding. The man who shouted his name at the Cyclops is sitting on the floor of his own hall, begging for scraps from men eating his food, and he is keeping his mouth shut. The next chapter will bring him face to face with Penelope. The suitors are enemies, and enemies are simple. Penelope is his wife, and wives are not.
You guys like my pigs?
The pig guy.
The pigs are
making
crazy.
English was pretty funny.
So I generated the images at first, and I saw that, and I was like, I'm gonna throw a little spin to it. Start looking. So
I liked it, bro. I thought it was good. I like that. I like it being more consistent the whole time. Like the other ones you do, sometimes like the real type of shots are kind of like breathtaking almost. I'm like, I can't believe AI made this type of shit, you know? But it being like so many different takes is like a lot for me. I do like how this is consistent, and I thought you conveyed the chapter well. So good job.
Yeah, I liked how they weren't like looping as much, but it was a continuous like stream of like events. And then even when it paused and there was no movement, it kind of added a little bit more to the story, like and the transition. So
I almost
know.
like that
It's
more
like-
than the looping sometimes too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Because when I was getting it to automate it, it didn't know how to like sync. And like I say this as if it took like a fucking hour to it took me like 2 minutes to resync it. But when I first ingested the voiceover with my script or with the visuals, it just laid it over and it didn't like adhere to where it's supposed to land. But then it was like, oh, you want me to pause so where this section is not supposed to run into the next scene. Like it's crazy. Like it's fucking mind blowing how crazy this shit does it.
Yeah, it's amazing that like this was something that you automated step by step, and it came out pretty much like the same as like the previous versions where you took more time on it. So great job.
Yeah, dude, the artwork was really sick. Like the picture of like the eyes was the scene. That artwork was really, really good. I like the reintroduction of the red theme. Like the art in there was really, really good. It's crazy to think that it was all like AI from Yump. You know, like that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And it was almost like, because the other ones they had done up to this point were the loopers, right? Like you do it and then it would loop, and then you do it and then it loop. It's like whatever you did with this one, it worked out really well. You know, like even if with those pauses, just kind of continue to explain the story, I think that it came out even better. So it's really cool to see what you've done, and excited to see what you do for 21.
That's the main functionality why the pauses, it's just a cost. Because once you like increase the duration of what the video is, it just ramps up cost. So having it to be like 4 seconds is too slow, so I ramped it to 7. But you can go all the way up to like 30 seconds, but then you just run your costs like through the roof. So one video costs us like almost a lot of tokens. So just talking with the AI and like figuring out how to get that to figure out that balance, and all it did is like freeze frame and then rolled into the next scene.
More tokens, 1 billion tokens by the end of the month.
Yeah. But you can achieve a lot. At least like, let's say we were seriously, I don't know, like a pitch deck or something serious. You could have rough drafts developed really fast, and your ideation process is like sped up in the process, so you can get to your first draft way quicker than it would if you where we're trying to think and hand draw on, or like, you know what I mean? It just speeds up the first few steps to get you going to the second draft and the third draft.
Yeah, the hardest part of all writing and like everything is the word vomit for version 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's pretty useful. Sweet. All right. Good job, dude. All right. We'll go ahead and move to book 18 with me. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know you guys can see that.
Okay.
Takes a second. Give me one here.
Yep. Can see it. It's just black. There it goes.
There it goes. All right. Cool. All right, so same approach as before, kind of creating still images so I can do like a narration on the back, kind of like a children's story or like a read along. So continuing with that. And so I am going to minimize this. All right. So the Odyssey, book 18. A king disguised as a beggar, a house consumed by arrogance and vengeance, draws one step nearer. Another beggar entered the hall, great in size but small in spirit. His name was Eris, and he demanded the stranger leave. The suitors winked and laughed. They longed for the violence. To them, suffering was sport. There's room enough for both of us, the old beggar said, but speak no more of fighting, lest ye force my hand. The suitor, Antinous, laughed the loudest of all. A contest was proposed. The two beggars would fight and the victor would feast, while the loser learned humility. The stranger considered agreement, but demanded fairness. No man was to aid Eris, and before all the observers, they swore fairness. Then, unseen by mortal eyes, gray-eyed Athena strengthened her champion. His limbs grew firm, his power returned. The suitors marveled at Odysseus, but Eris saw something else. Beneath the rags, a lion stirred. Eris struck first, punching Odysseus on the right shoulder, but the answer came swift and terrible. One punch from Odysseus beneath the ear shattered the bones of Eris's skull, and he fell to the ground groaning. Laughter shook the hall. The victor dragged Eris to the gate and propped him upright against the wall. Sit there, said the stranger, guard the pigs and the dogs, and dream no more of kingship among beggars. The disguised Odysseus accepted bread and wine, and then he spoke the words that chilled the heart of Antinous. Odysseus will return, and blood will answer blood. Antinous walked away in silence, and he sensed evil approaching, yet could not escape destiny. Then Athena turned her thoughts to Penelope. She would make the queen more radiant still, and ensnare the suitors deeper in desire. As Penelope swept, Athena bestowed divine grace upon her, greater beauty, greater majesty, and greater sorrow. Veiled and accompanied by her maids, Penelope descended from her chamber, and every man in the hall desired her. How could you allow this stranger to suffer? She asked Telemachus. The son answered with restraint, but his anger burned. Eurymachus then approached Queen Penelope and said, if all the Achaeans and Argos could see you at this moment, you would have more suitors in your house by tomorrow morning. Queen Penelope responded, suitors do not consume another man's wealth. They bring gifts. And so they obeyed. Gold, amber, earrings, necklaces, wealth poured into the hands of Penelope. Then Queen Penelope went back to her room upstairs, and her maids brought the presents the suitors gave her. Meanwhile, the suitors took to singing and dancing until it grew dark. The suitors then brought out 3 braziers to give light and lit torches from which the maids held up turn and turn about. Odysseus spoke to the maids. Servants of Odysseus, go to the queen inside the house, sit with her, and amuse her. I will hold the light for all these people. But not all within the house were loyal to Queen Penelope. The handmaid Melantho mocked the stranger, forgetting whose hall she stood within. The disguised Odysseus responded, you wicked wench, I'll tell Telemachus of what you've said and we'll see what happens. All of the maids went off into the house in fear, as they believed the disguised Odysseus would do as he said. But he took his stand near the burning braziers, holding up the torches and looking at the people, scheming the while on things that surely should come to pass. Athena would not let the suitors for one moment cease their insolence, for she wanted Odysseus to become even more bitter against them. So she set Eurymachus on to gibe at him. Odysseus responded, you are insolent and cruel, and think of yourself as a great man because you live in a little world, and that a bad one. If Odysseus comes back, the doors of this house are wide, but you will find them narrow when you try to flee through them. These words enraged Eurymachus, so he picked up a footstool and threw it at Odysseus, but the stool missed and hit Antinous on his right hand and knocked him down. Violence had begun to awaken. Telemachus attempted to quell the brewing violence, and the suitors all held their tongues. Antinous stood up and said, do not let us take offense. It is reasonable, so let us make no answer. Neither let us do violence to the stranger nor any of Odysseus' servants. Let us leave Telemachus to deal with him, for it is his house he has come. At last the wine was poured and offerings were made to the gods. The king remained hidden, the queen remained faithful, but the hour of reckoning drew near, and Ithaca would soon remember who its true master was. End of book 18.
Some friggin' knockers, dog. What the heck?
Yeah, you can tell
Go back to
AI. You can
Go
tell
back to
people
that.
are. Yeah, go back to that actually. Let's go back to where the maids are at, because like this is really where my thought was at. Right here. Let's stop right here. What? I mean, look at that, dude. You can see their nipples through it. It's pretty hot, bro. You can tell people are using AI to make porn because I mean, like, why is AI's brain like that? You know?
Right.
Quite
Go back a
tasteful.
few.
What?
Go back to where Penelope walks in.
No, back.
Back.
Let's go back a couple more. Like,
Keep-
God,
Dude,
dang.
like what?
Yep.
Crazy.
Go forward one.
Oh, this one. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look how hot she is.
She is a goddess.
Yeah.
She's a goddess. Yeah, I really like.
Get him off the screen, bro. Put the knockers back on. We're gonna.
I did like the way you narrated this time, as adding some dialogue in there, like really like pausing, and just the cadence of that was cool. It was like watching like a mini movie.
Mm-hmm.
You do a
And,
great job with that.
yeah. Like this looks awesome. This looks like a PS2 game, like where I click like start or like select, and it just takes me into the game.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I always get sucked into like you're narrating, especially with like the slides and everything. It does feel like kind of like it's almost like watching a video, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's really close to it. Hey.
And John's all, ooh, God.
Yeah, did you see me like it? I'm like, bro, this is crazy. Anyone seen this?
Is anybody seeing this?
All right.
Yeah, that first. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the first one was crazy.
They just
That
kept
was-
getting better too.
I was like,
bro,
whoa.
dang, dude. And you were reading a lot when the maids were out there. I was like, dang, this is pretty sick.
All right. That wraps up book 18. So we're going to go to book 19 with David.
All right, big dogs. Yeah, that was wild.
Is anybody seeing this?
Somebody's seeing this shit. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Sweet. All right, for book 19, I did this again in Figma. Changed up a little bit of the like breaks in between the slides. I figured it would be kind of nice to like rename each scene and have it be something a little bit more compelling. Yeah, let's just try it out and see how this goes. So this is the Odyssey, book 19. So the first scene we have the king beneath the rags. Book 18 ends with Odysseus still disguised as a beggar inside his own palace, surrounded by the very men he intends to kill. The suitors continue feasting, mocking him, and consuming his wealth without realizing the rightful king has already returned. Penelope has appeared before the suitors for the first time in years, drawing admiration from them while also exposing their arrogance. Meanwhile, Athena continues quietly guiding events toward their inevitable conclusion. Book 19 begins in the stillness of the night, as Odysseus and Telemachus prepare for the final stage of their plan. The atmosphere is tense, secretive, and filled with anticipation. The Night of Hidden Steel. Odysseus tells Telemachus that all the weapons in the Great Hall must be removed before the confrontation begins. Together, they quietly gather helmets, shields, and spears while the palace sleeps. Telemachus is instructed to tell the suitors the weapons were removed because smoke has damaged them and because drunken quarrels might break out. As they work, Athena appears beside them carrying a golden lamp that fills the hall with divine light. The walls, rafters, and beams glow as if touched by heavenly fire. For the first time, father and son work side by side as partners in a mission that will decide the fate of Ithaca. A queen meets a stranger. After the weapons are hidden away, Penelope descends from her chambers to speak with the mysterious beggar. Homer compares her beauty to that of Artemis and Aphrodite, emphasizing the dignity she has preserved despite years of suffering. The hall has grown quieter, and the conversation takes place beside the warmth of the firelight. Penelope remains unaware that the man before her is Odysseus himself. Yet, husband and wife are finally reunited in the same room after 20 years apart. The scene is intimate, emotional, and filled with dramatic irony. The woman who refused to yield. Penelope describes the impossible situation she has endured since Odysseus left for Troy. More than 100 suitors occupy her home, devouring its resources and demanding that she chooses a new husband. To delay them, she devised the famous trick of weaving a burial shroud for Laertes during the day and secretly unraveling it each night. For 3 years, she successfully deceived them before disloyal servants exposed her scheme. Now she feels trapped between loyalty to Odysseus and growing pressure from everyone around her. Her speech reveals why she remains one of the most admired and resilient characters in the epic. The greatest lie Odysseus ever told. Pressed to reveal his identity, Odysseus invents an elaborate story about being a noble Cretan named Aethon. He claims to have once welcomed Odysseus as a guest and describes the encounter in remarkable detail. The story is completely fabricated, yet it is woven together with enough truth to make it convincing. Odysseus speaks of Crete, King Minos, and the Trojan War with the confidence of a master storyteller. His words are not merely a disguise, they are a test. Through this conversation, he begins measuring Penelope's loyalty and wisdom without revealing himself. Tears for a living ghost. As Odysseus describes the clothing and appearance of the man he supposedly met years earlier, Penelope realizes the details are accurate. He recalls the purple cloak, the golden brooch, and even the servant Eurybates, who accompanied Odysseus. These are details only someone who truly knew Odysseus could provide. Overcome by grief and longing, Penelope begins to cry. Homer compares her tears to melting snow flowing down a mountainside in spring. All the while, Odysseus sits before her, listening silently as his wife mourns him. A prophecy spoken by a beggar. Trying to comfort Penelope, Odysseus claims that he has recently received reliable news about her husband. He tells her that Odysseus is alive, gathering wealth abroad, and preparing to return home soon. He even swears a solemn oath that Odysseus will return before the next moon has passed. The audience knows every word is technically true, even though Penelope believes it comes from a stranger. Hope briefly enters the conversation through Penelope's struggles to believe it. The scene captures the strange tension between truth and deception that runs throughout the Odyssey. The hands that raised the king. Penelope orders that the old beggar be treated with respect and asks her trusted nurse, Euryclea, to wash his feet. Euryclea had cared for Odysseus since infancy and helped raise him in the palace, making her one of the few people who truly knew him. As she kneels before him, the scene carries powerful symbolic weight. The rightful king sits hidden beneath rags while a faithful servant unknowingly ministers to him. In many ways, this moment echoes the Christian image of Christ arriving not as conquering ruler, but as a humble and suffering servant whose true identity is hidden from those around him. Odysseus grows nervous because one part of his body cannot be disguised, a scar earned long ago in his youth. The fate of his secret now rests in the hands of a woman who helped raise him. The scar of Mount Parnassus. The moment Euryclea touches the scar, Homer pauses the story and takes the audience back into Odysseus' youth. We learn how he traveled to Mount Parnassus to visit his grandfather, Autolycus, the legendary thief favored by Hermes. During a hunt, a massive wild boar charged from its lair and ripped Odysseus' leg open with its tusks. Though wounded, Odysseus struck back and killed the beast. The scar became a permanent mark of courage, suffering, and survival, just as the wounds of the risen Christ became the means by which his followers recognize him. This scar becomes the sign that reveals the hidden king of Ithaca. The first recognition. Euryclea immediately understands who the stranger really is. Shocked and overwhelmed, she drops his foot into the basin and bursts into tears. She tries to speak, but emotion chokes her voice as joy and disbelief collide. Odysseus quickly grabs her and commands her to remain silent. He reminds her that this time of revelation has not yet arrived. Bound by loyalty and love, Euryclea agrees to keep the secret and become the first person in Ithaca to recognize her king. The dream of fate. Later that night, Penelope tells the stranger about a troubling dream. She dreamed that an eagle swooped down and killed her beloved geese before revealing itself as her husband. Odysseus immediately interprets the dream. The geese represent the suitors, and the eagle represents Odysseus himself returning in judgment. Yet Penelope remains uncertain because dreams can be deceptive and difficult to interpret. She then announces a contest that will determine her future and the future of the palace. Whoever can string Odysseus' great bow and shoot an arrow through the 12 axe heads will win her hand in marriage. So what does Book 19 illustrate? Book 19 illustrates the power of identity, loyalty, patience, and hidden truth. Nearly every scene revolves around recognition delayed. Penelope speaks with Odysseus but does not know him, while Euryclea discovers the truth but must remain silent. The book shows how wisdom often requires restraint rather than action, as Odysseus waits for the perfect moment to reveal himself. It also highlights Penelope's remarkable faithfulness, intelligence, and endurance after 20 years of uncertainty. Through dreams, prophecies, scars, and memories, the story suggests that truth cannot remain hidden forever. By the end of the book, the bow contest has now been announced. The suitor's fate is sealed, and the long-awaited reckoning stands only one step away. And that was book 19.
Wow, that was really good. That was really good. The
Thanks, dude.
your images are on. Like, I don't know if you and Jay produce your images differently, but your like like just this image alone, like what the fuck, like
Right.
and the one where she's cleaning his foot, cleaning Odysseus's foot, and the one before that too, like they're just like crazy amounts of detail on like the hair and like what, bro? I don't know how you're generating these, but they're sick.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's like I've been prompting it to say, like, I have very specific prompts that I'm giving it, dealing with emotion and perspective changes and just like lighting and trying to like make it feel like cinematic without being too much, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You can tell it's more on the surreal side. Like there's
Yeah.
almost too much detail, but it adds like a dramatization feel to it, to where it's not too realistic. But to me, it looks really like I like it. It looks super sick.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, great job. The artwork as always is super super good. I liked the length of this one. It was a little bit longer, but I liked it because it told the story in more detail. You added in some things in there, you know, that I thought were really good, and yeah, I think all around it was a really good presentation.
Thanks, man.
I liked how you had like kind of like different acts in this presentation. It was like the Dream of Fate, and that's an act of like it's like a brief little micro story within the book, and then like you switch like a different act within your book.
Yeah.
And so like I kind of like that. I did agree that it was a little bit longer, but the length gives you time to kind of give more detail, you know. So it's not a bad thing. And I thought how there's different acts, it didn't make it feel like it was like a continuous long thing. It's like boom, boom. So I thought it was good, bro. And yeah, I mean the images are good.
Thanks, dude. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. We'll go to book 20 with John.
Okie dokie. How I do this again? Just kidding.
It's the button at the bottom, bro.
Yeah, I know, bro. I remember now. Let's do this. Okay, book 20, the day before judgment. One final night. The palace is quiet, but Ulysses cannot sleep. Lying awake among his enemies, he reflects on the Trojan War, his long journey, Penelope's suffering, and his palace's corruption. Tomorrow may decide everything. Listening to the disloyal palace servants, Ulysses feels a furious desire for immediate revenge. This is perhaps the hardest time in the entire poem for him to control his rage. Book 20 reminds us that Ulysses' greatest battle is not against monsters, but against himself. The man who survived cyclopses, sirens, must now conquer his own rage. During the night, Minerva appears, reminding Ulysses that the gods have guided him and will not abandon him now. Her presence calms him, strengthening his resolve as the time for action approaches. I thought this was funny because it's like, we've been with you the whole time. He's literally been having 20 years of hardship. So, like, what does that really mean? When morning comes, Ulysses prays to Jupiter for a sign that his plan will succeed and justice will return to Ithaca. Even heroes seek reassurance before facing destiny. Jupiter responds immediately with thunder rolling across the clear sky. This sign confirms the king of gods supports Ulysses, signaling that justice is approaching. Inside the palace, an exhausted servant grinding grain for the suitor makes a simple prayer that this will be the last day of the suitor's feast in Ulysses' house. Unknowingly, she speaks a prophecy. Book 20 highlights Telemachus's significant growth. Once intimidated by the suitors, he now openly confronts them, carrying himself with confidence and authority like the future king of Ithaca. When the suitors insult the disguised beggar, Telemachus rebukes them in his own hall. He refuses to be bullied, completing his transformation into a man worthy of Ulysses' legacy. Ignoring Telemachus' warnings, the suitors laugh, their arrogance preventing them from seeing the danger. Every insult brings them closer to destruction. One suitor, Cespeus, mocks the disguised Ulysses by hurling a piece of meat at him. I think it was like a pig's foot. This cruel, disrespectful act is complete violation of hospitality. I think he threw a pig's foot and then Ulysses dodges it. Yeah, because it's a complete violation. Yeah. So Telemachus immediately condemns the attack, warning the suitors that such behavior is shameful. The young prince who once lacked confidence now openly challenges powerful men. He was like, hey, if that would have hit him, there would have been trouble. Ulysses remains calm, not revealing his identity or retaliating. The audience understands that every insult is being remembered, and the reckoning is coming. Suddenly, the prophet Theoclymenus receives a terrifying vision. Darkness covering the hall, blood staining the walls, and spirits gathering for the dead. The palace appears transformed into a place of judgment. Rather than fearing the prophecy, the suitors mock Theoclymenus. Their inability to recognize danger becomes their greatest weakness. They are already doomed and do not know it. Yeah, I think he tells us prophecy and he's like, I'm out of here. I'm going to go. Major themes for book 20 are patience and self-control, divine justice, pride before destruction, coming of age, fate and prophecy, hospitality and disrespect. And that's it. But how I do this again?
That one there was a violation.
Yeah, I thought you would like that, Jay. That was for you.
Moving mad, bruv.
Moving mad, bro. It's the UK.
All the UK shit gets me. It's funny.
Yeah, that was good. I like the switch up of like the actual like Greek art. You know, like the humble servants like prayer.
Yeah,
it's a good little
that
breakup.
that was a real thing, right? Like someone had already has like that's published like art depicting of that like imagery, and I was like, sweet. And then when you're reading it, you're like, she's like, oh Lord, like lightning during the day or during a clear night. I hope that's a sign that the suitors will die. You know, and Ulysses is like, good, you're off the list. Actually, good job, great prayer, off the list. Yeah, I like how this is reminding me. I think it was David, your presentation when the woman's washing his leg and she realizes that it's Ulysses. He's like, hey, he's like, if you say anything, you're dead too. You got that? And she's like, yo, I'm team you. I promise.
She grabbed her by the throat.
But, yeah, grab her, but she's also like, hey, she's like, let me tell you all the good and bad people. And he was like, shush, woman, I'll decide. I don't trust you either, by the way. That was kind of his attitude. He's like, hey, listen, we got history, but no one's free and clear right now. I'm watching everybody. You too, hussy.
95-year-old woman.
Yeah, she loves him though. She passed the test.
Yeah, great presentation, man. Love the memes, love the videos. Covered it very well.
I didn't like this one a lot personally. I feel like this chapter was very. The past couple chapters have been kind of like you're edging, you know?
Yeah,
it's like, bro, let's just fucking get to the fucking good part. Like the past 3 chapters is like, I get it, bro. He's in the skies. Everyone's fucking being not good. We get it. They've been doing that for the past 8 chapters now, kind of low key, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I think we're about to be there. I mean, we're coming to the next presentations. We're done, you know? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys finished it yet?
No. Okay. That'll be this week.
Where are you guys at?
Week. I'm on chapter 20.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not reading ahead.
Okay. On my train rides in the morning, I'll listen to it. Like I'll read it as I'm going. So I'm a little bit ahead, but your book right there, John 20, has like a little hint in it. And I texted you guys about it this past week. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to present book 22 because you guys will get it. But
a little hint.
Yeah, you'll get it when you read 22. You'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, what was your guys' favorite book from this week's reading, or favorite moment?
I think mine was David's book because I like how they brought you back in time.
Yeah.
And got to because we don't really like. I think Iliad is good because we got to like read the actual war scene, but even before that time, like we really don't like get a peek at Ulysses' like history as like youth, and so that was like cool to see like the dynamic of like people that are the woman that was older than him, and then Homer bring you into this like different world of where he's currently at, like with redemption in real time, and what he's actually capable of. Like the story that he presented was fascinating. So I think I like David book the most, or book what was that 18?
19.
19?
I like that one too. I like the connection with the woman who kind of like she was there during his birth. She raised him. Like obviously, she's another loyal cast, you know, in this thing. Um, and there was a yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Do you guys think it was interesting, like that Odysseus' name means like wrath or like hate, right?
Odysseus
Do you guys
means
pick up?
What does it translate to again? Yeah, I remember that in the book. What does that translate to again?
Means wrathful, hateful, or trouble.
But wasn't there was there two translations to it, or was it just that one thing? And wasn't it his dad gave that name because he was like mad at something, right?
Yeah, wrath.
Yes.
Trouble.
He who causes pain or anger.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I remember reading that, but it didn't click. That's pretty cool. Hateful, trouble, wrathful makes sense.
Wrathful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, the trouble piece would make sense when they went to the cave or the island to like where the cheese was. Like he was like seeking that out. Like
Yeah,
they didn't really need to be there. So it was, I think that there's dynamics of his name that makes sense. Obviously, this chapter is more like wrath. Like he's going to bring the hammer down on these people that disobeyed and kind of spoke ill against his name.
I mean, it seems like the entire book so far, he's been kind of going after trouble. He's the one guy that gets tied up to hear the siren.
Yeah.
You know, we go to all these places, and yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah, his grandfather Autolycus named him. He was one of the most famous tricksters in Greek mythology, and he visited Ithaca. Odysseus' parents asked him to name him. Autolycus said he spent most of his life being angry with and hated by and causing trouble for many people, so he named the boy Odysseus.
Pretty cool.
The man of suffering.
Yeah,
He be suffering.
he does.
Yeah.
My favorite part from the book this week's reading was Odysseus disguised still gets to go and have a talk with Penelope, and like the amount of emotional fortitude it takes to like you see your wife after 20 years and you're like you don't break, you come after like you make up a story to keep the whole thing going like that right there is pretty intense to be like. I imagine you see your wife after 20 years, you'd be like, instant crack. But then again, he's been messing with goddesses and shit.
Yeah. Instant crack. That's crazy. He's like fighting.
He's a professional though. He's a professional liar. He's like literally he's lied the entire book. I mean, of the Odyssey almost.
Everywhere he's gone.
So he's like, sorry, baby, it's who I am. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes Minerva's gonna camouflage me as a beggar, and you won't know it's me, but I'll know.
Yeah. And the entirety of this was since he's landed on the island, it's just been testing people. Where you at? Where you at?
Where you at? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited for the last 4 books.
Okay, well, let's talk about the other beggar that I think came with Telemachus, who prophesied, right?
Yeah, Theoclymenus.
He came with Telemachus. Telemachus gave him a ride, correct?
Correct.
I like how he prophesies and then he was like, I'm out. Because like he is not involved in this. But like they've made a lot of foreshadowing that they're like everyone in the house is on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Like they've even made references like even one of their suitors was like nice to Ulysses as a beggar and like gave him stuff and he's like, it won't even matter.
Right. They're all
Everyone's kind of yeah. So like I bet you at the end of the day it's gonna be like literally like you remember Eumaeus, the swineherd guy, the goatherd guy getting killed, every suitor getting killed. Some of the maids killed.
I didn't even realize like that. Yeah, like some of the maids were like everybody was loose with their responsibilities,
Yep.
and the maids were just like fooling around with like the suitors too. And
Well,
he's like,
they're banging the suitors.
Yeah,
Horse, all of them.
but
Horse.
yeah.
Yeah, Theoclymenus, it's interesting. Like he plays such a significant role. One other thing too is like Amphimenus, when he brings him after he beats up Eris, right? He brings him the bread and wine, and Ulysses or Odysseus looks at him. He's like, "Look around. Look what's going on right here. Do you really think this is good? I think you should leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't, there's going to be hell to pay." And then he like senses something's off, but he still sticks around. And it's like, "Yep, everybody here's fucked." That was an interesting part too. So he did offer some like, "Hey man, like I know your dad and mom, like you guys, you come from good stock. You should get out of here.
He's a you could go. You could go.
You really should."
You really should, bro.
And everybody's like, "Oh, it could be a god disguised," but they do not care.
No, that's not true. So like they do care. So like some of them, not all of them, are disrespectful to Ulysses disguised as a beggar. Some of them, like, but they think maybe they're like okay. They go, it's common Greek mythology that gods disguise themselves as a beggar, the test to see how like what your true nature is, right? And that's why like hospitality has been an overarching theme throughout all the Odyssey, following Telemachus's journey, Odysseus's journey. Right now in Ithaca, hospitality is like a current theme. So like they think maybe he's a god, so like they're not being rude to him, but they don't understand that it's Ulysses, which is way worse than being a god. Like the god wouldn't kill them all for trying to go after Penelope. And they think they go, okay, we weren't rude to the guy, we gave him our scraps. I should be in the clear.
Right.
They have no idea that it's literally like the guy, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It'll be interesting. We're getting to the end here. So
Yeah.
all right.
I would say I think my favorite part, yeah. I really liked my book and I did notice some like kind of Christian symbolism that was in there. And that's why like I included that about like the whole like washing the feet thing and like the king coming as like someone who's like suffering. There was like 3 days and 3 nights in there too. I remember that briefly. And like I think chapter I don't know, like the one before mine. So yeah, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, there's a lot in here, and I like how Homer's like kind of taking you into different stories, like just like on the spot, and then bringing you back. It's adding a lot of just like depth to the story.
Yeah.
I like how Ulysses was like, because Penelope wanted one of the gals to like wash him, and he was like, the young gals, I would just feel too uncomfortable for both them and me. Do you have an older, stronger gal somewhere in the back? It's a very loyal, older, stronger gal. Maybe the one that's birthed, I don't know, Ulysses. She's like, Penelope's like, well, we do have someone like that. Let's go get her.
Yeah. Yep. That is funny.
Bro, this is how I imagine Ulysses as he's lying to his wife and everybody around him. He's like, you're gonna die. I'm also right here, but you don't know that.
Hell yeah. All right. That about wraps up our episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to books 17 through 20 of the Odyssey. We hope you're enjoying the show. Drop a comment down below. What was your favorite book from this week's reading? And follow us on our social media platforms. And like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that little notification bell so that way you're updated every time we drop a new video. And all the all the information you need will be down in the description box below. And remember, who you are now equals who you'll be tomorrow. Peace. Peace.